Well, today, both the Reserve Bank and the Australian Government combined to put an extra $100 billion into our financial system, which basically means more money will be available to lend to small and medium-sized businesses, and the interest rate will also come down. And we've already seen since that announcement that the Commonwealth Bank has reduced the rate charged to small and medium-sized businesses by a full percentage point. So that's good news because that means smaller interest payments.
Speaking of banks, we know that one of the problems that a lot of people are going to face is difficulty to pay a home loan because either they're a casual worker, self-employed. I know you get this question a lot, but I need people watching us to be able to hear this answer. Are the banks coming good with maybe holding off for a month on people paying back their mortgage? Are you encouraging people who are the investors in the property market to give a bit of a rent holiday? You'll get your money eventually, you're just not knocking on the door for the next 30 or 60 days.
Well, Paul, this is a Team Australia moment. Whether you're an energy company, a bank, a landlord, you have to understand the predicament in which your customers are in through no fault of their own. And we need to build that bridge to recovery. We need to get to the other side, no matter how long it takes. And we want the businesses to remain in business, and we want the Australians to remain in a job. So I do call upon the banks, and I have been talking to them day and night, to show that generosity of spirit, to work with their customers, to provide that relief, because I know that their interests, the bank's interests, are actually aligned with the customer's interests. The bank only survives when it's got lots of customers, and likewise the customer needs a bank to get through to the other side.
Now, as it was a few months ago when it came to the bushfires, we are here in another situation where people are going to hear that there's X $100 that'll be coming their way, or loans are available of Y $1,000 or whatever it is. But a lot of people are either intimidated or not particularly familiar with the process to actually apply for all of this stuff. Can I just focus in on the small business and the $25,000 number that is there?
Sure.
How hard is that to apply for? What do you need to apply for it? And how long before you have to pay it back?
Well, the good news for your viewers is you don't need to apply for it. It happens automatically through the tax system, using the BAS statement, building on the wages bill that small business or medium-sized business currently has, and all that money will flow automatically, and it's a cash payment. Nothing needs to be paid back. Likewise, with the $750 cash payments that are going to 6.5 million Australians, that will flow from March 31, and that money doesn't have to come back. That's to be spent throughout the economy. And as you know, the Prime Minister, the Finance Minister and I are working on a second package of measures which is designed to cushion the blow for some of those who are finding themselves unemployed through this process, but also for those small businesses who need our support.
Normally it's a Treasurer's job to turn around and tell ministers no when it comes to spending. Yeah. I know that it's sort of the muscle memory is in complete reverse here, but how are you drawing the line about what is too much, what is not directed correctly, what is too big a bazooka too early in the fight?
Well, what we did early on, ahead of settling our first stimulus package, was to settle the principles that will guide us. Now, those principles are that the money needs to be temporary. We don't want to bake in long-term spending that we'll never be able to wind back. We're dealing with a particular challenge right now, which is the spread of the coronavirus and its impact on unemployment and economic activity. The second is we want it to be targeted. We don't want to establish new programs like the pink bats or the overpriced school halls. We actually want to use the existing tax and transfer system. We want it to be simple, just like I said with the cash payment for small businesses. No applications required. Money will just make its way into the bank account of that small business. And we know that we do need to do things that you wouldn't normally do. But we need to do it because we want businesses to remain in business and Australians to remain in a job.
Now, I want to flag something that I think is going to potentially be an issue 30 days from now, which is many of the small businesses that I know that have bricks and mortar establishments. One of the biggest pressures on them is, okay, even if they have to shed a couple of staff here and there, work a little bit longer, commercial rent. Again, we talk about that Team Australia factor, but there are companies that exist, and the whole point for them existing is to own commercial rent. How much can be negotiated here? What's the carrot and stick to make sure that very big shopping centres aren't hitting their people up every 30 days? Are these the discussions that are happening, or we're hoping these discussions are happening?
Well, I've actually had some of those discussions already. I've spoken to the big shopping centre owners in Australia with tens of thousands of shops. Now, some of those are small or medium-sized businesses, others are chains, whether they're clothing chains or food chains, or Telstra, or whoever the other, or Apple, or whoever the other tenants may be. They have a range of tenants, some of whom, like Apple, have announced they're closing the stores, but they're still paying the rent. That is not an option available to some of the smaller and medium-sized enterprises. So I know that the shopping centre owners are working through this issue. I continue to talk to them. And like I said, whether it's a landlord, whether it's an energy company, whether it's the tax office, whether it's a bank, all of these parties can do things to help their small and medium-sized businesses get to the other side.
Good chat.